So like the traditional way of looking at data was all about taking historical models to try and accurately predict a future, which was effectively unpredictable. There was too many complex variables for us to be able to do that. And so you saw this switch to using kind of real-time data to react to the actual environment that presents itself rather than a predicted environment. And this is not just some small change. This changes who's getting this data. It's no longer the kind of back office analysts because they can't react fast enough. It's got to be the frontline people. And in order to be able to react to this, to be able to adapt to their environment, their roles have to change as well. So you're seeing the rise of cross-functional roles. I mean, you saw this originally in Toyota, you've seen it in fashion, you've seen it in finance, you see it again and again and again. As people realize that they have to adapt to their environment, they have to completely rethink how their organization is working. It's no longer about this complex plan. Toyota, as I mentioned, is the classic example where you had a group of people who started out with very complex plans, like we need to sell this many cars and make these parts in this kind of order to do so. And you had a factory that was actually in bankruptcy at the time. And what they did with Taichi Ono, even in the 50s and 60s, was the realization that they couldn't predict the future. So they tried to make the problem of an uncertain future not matter. And they completely hacked the factory. They tore up the entire ways of doing things. They changed the job roles of the people on the front lines and gave them direct access to data, simple signals in data, saying, okay, this is what you should be doing now, which enabled them to adapt to their environment, completely transform them, and turn them from a company near in bankruptcy to the most consistently profitable automobile company. You see the same thing, by the way, happening in publishing. If you think about what's happened over the last few years, journalists used to end their jobs with pressing publish. They didn't care about data, maybe they got it the next day. Now they're constantly connected to data. Their jobs have morphed. They've become cross-functional between the journalist, the editor, and the marketer of that content. Now that's all kind of smushed together. You're seeing this again and again and again. When people realize that environments are too complex for them to be able to predict, they have to be able to adapt instead. They have to be aware of the serendipity around them.
So how does Chartbeat fit in?
So Chartbeat's pretty simple in this regard, where traditional analytics focuses on those back office analysts, on creating these kind of models of the future. We don't do that. We focus on the frontline actors and on helping them respond to the now, to adapt to the environment that their customers and their competitors create at that moment.
Can you give me an example of how Chartbeat has led to a real-time decision?
Sure, absolutely. Well, I mean, so one of our biggest products is Newsbeat, which is used by everyone from Bloomberg to ESPN, and everything from the kind of content that they're promoting, what they push, when a big spike comes in, how they react to a spike in traffic. You know, because what you thought was important, the content you thought was important, might not be the content that your users think is important, your readers think is important, and how you react when something happens could be completely different depending on whether it's search traffic coming in or social traffic coming in. These are two fundamentally different webs. You know, the search web was something where you had a moderate amount of traffic to a huge number of pages over a long period of time, and you could optimize for the algorithm. In the social web, you've got a huge amount of traffic to very few pages over a very short period of time, and it's incumbent upon you to realize it when it happens, double down on that moment, ride that spike, so that when you plateau afterwards, you plateau at a higher level, and that's how you grow traffic in the social web. And it's all down to recognizing the environment you're in and adapting to it. You should really buy Thor's book.
Thanks.